Hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome back to the Mike Faraci Show. Today we're going to nerd out on some mortgage stuff. I guess this is tangentially real estate stuff too, but mostly mortgage and how us as mortgage loan originators, mortgage advisors can actually save our home buying clients a whole lot of money this holiday season using a product, not necessarily product, more of an option that you can add on to a product from yesteryear, more like yesterdecade. And it's been a hot button topic lately. It is the 2-1 Buydown. I think the 2-1 Buydown is a much bigger deal than most people do. I hear a lot of industry professionals talking about it because it is a way to instantly lower interest rates for clients, temporarily anyway. But all the talk that I hear is focused on interest rates. Why are we just focusing on interest rates? Let's look at dollars and cents, because I don't think the 2-1 Buydown is getting the credit that it deserves. I don't think that this is something that we should be looking at just for, I don't know, for lack of a better term, selling a borrower on a loan. I hate selling someone. Let's advise them and then let them make the loan choices. But seriously, a 2-1 Buydown is a serious financial tool. It keeps lots of money in people's pockets. And I think this is one of the biggest no-brainers in the mortgage industry right now. And we're going to look at why. We're going to look at the dollars and cents of it. I actually have a graphic that I put together. Don't you worry, my audio amigos. I'm going to talk through this graphic. So just because you can't see it, you're not going to miss anything. But if you do want to see the things, take a look at it on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Mike Faraci. Getting into the nuts and bolts of a 2-1 Buydown. What am I doing? I'm talking about this thing just assuming that everybody knows what it is. There's a lot of people that are new to the industry that weren't around back the last time, 10 or so years ago, that this temporary 2-1 Buydown was a popular thing. It's not just a fad, but it fell out of favor because people didn't need it. When rates are in the threes, you don't need to buy down your rate all that much. But now rates aren't in the threes anymore, and it's a different ball game. So when a borrower adds a 2-1 Buydown feature onto their loan, you're typically looking at a conventional 30-year fixed loan. Let's say they qualify for a rate of 6.5%, but they want to add a 2-1 Buydown. Now, this 2-1 Buydown is going to buy down their rate by 2% and by 1%, and it's a 2-year plan. So effectively, the first year, their interest rate is lowered by 2%. And in the second year of their mortgage, their interest rate is lowered by 1%. So if they qualify for a 6.5% interest rate, then the first year, their interest rate is going to be 4.5%. And in the second year, their interest rate is going to be 5.5%. And in the third year through the 30th year, the other 28 years of the loan, that interest rate is going to be at the 6.5% that they qualify for and qualify with. That's a huge distinguishment that I want to make. This 2-1 Buydown isn't going to lower the interest rate by a couple percent in order to lower the mortgage payment enough to get somebody to qualify. That's not what this is for. This is a financial tool, and we're using it to help people save money. This is not a qualification tool that will be used to help somebody qualify for a loan that they wouldn't be able to qualify for otherwise. This is not increasing affordability to a point to where you can buy a house you wouldn't be able to afford. It's increasing affordability to help keep some money in people's pockets when they buy the house that they can afford anyway. So let's look at this 2-1 Buydown. I'm going to use a $450,000 loan amount because right now in late 2022, your median home purchase price in America is just north of $450,000. So say somebody puts a few $1,000s down, they end up with a mortgage amount, a loan amount of $450,000, and they opt for a 2-1 Buydown. We're talking through this here. Their typical qualifying rate, 6.5% on a $450,000 30-year fixed rate loan. That's going to yield you a monthly payment, a principal and interest payment anyway, of $2,845. But once we enact this 2-1 Buydown, once we really take advantage of this, their first year interest rate is going to be 4.5%. That lowers the monthly payment to $2,280. That's a $565 a month savings. So just in year one, in those first 12 months, they're saving $6,780. You think this isn't a big deal? Then we get into year two. Things change a little bit. We're buying down by 1% in the second year, which gives you a 5.5% interest rate. That yields a $2,555, so $2,555 a month payment on that $450,000 30-year fixed loan. That's a $290 a month savings. So in the second 12 months of the loan, it's a $3,480 savings over the course of the year. And over the course of the first 2 years of this loan, this buyer has kept over $10,000 in their pocket. It's $10,260 to be exact. Can somebody show me a more powerful financial tool when it comes to something that you can do with your mortgage right now? And this is an out-of-the-gate savings for anybody who's buying a home. Now, let's be honest here. It's a buy down. The buyer does have to buy this feature. There is going to be a fee for that. But before we talk about the fee, I want to get into one of my favorite segments.
Hat of the day. Ooh, I love hats.
What hat am I wearing today? Let's look at this thing. The hat of the day is from First.Shop. This is made by one of my favorite creators, Chris Ramsey. I follow his YouTube channel. I like the merch. I like the hats. And most of all, I really like his channel because he does a lot of inside magic stuff. He's a magician. He does a lot of things about solving puzzles and all the different curiosities and quirky type of merchandise that he deals in, he and his friends anyway. So check out the Chris Ramsey channel on YouTube if you're into that stuff, if you like magic, if you like puzzles, or if you just want to get some cool merch. His brand is First.Shop, and that's what I'm sporting today. So back into the 2-1 buy down and the fact that we're buying these, the buyers, the borrowers, they're paying a fee for it. It doesn't come for free. Something that's going to keep that much money in your pocket over the first 2 years of the loan, it's not going to come for free, is it? And that's okay. It doesn't have to come for free because the cost isn't huge. Now, I can only speak for American Financial Network, where I work. Our Super Loans brand is what I run and manage. And when I was looking at 2-1 buy down pricing and doing all the scenario differences and examples in order to figure out what the average cost of this thing would be, first off, I had to run a bunch of scenarios because it's not just a standard loan level price adjustment. It's not just we're going to whack you with a 0.5% and that's the fee for this. That's not how it works at our company. When we price out loans, every scenario gets priced on a custom best execution model. Every single one of our 40 plus aggregators or investors are included in the pricing. So we're really getting the best of what's available for that day at that time on that specific scenario. And it even goes so granular as to be that there could be a different investor that's the best price depending on the rate that you choose. So each one really is a custom best execution every time we run a scenario, and different investors price different 2-1 buy downs in their own way, right? Some of them could have a loan level price adjustment. Some of them could publish it as a separate program on the rate sheet. And there's really no way to do it unless you run apples to apples comparisons and figure out what the difference is. So when we were figuring out the difference in price for our 2-1 buy down, it did depend on the rate. It did depend on the scenario, but we were seeing a cost of anywhere between 1/8 of a point and 1/2 a point. And that's not the interest rate. That's 1/8 of a point to 1/2 a point of the loan amount in fee. The 1/8 of a point, that's not going to happen very often. That's really cheap. Let's be honest. And the 1/2 a point is kind of more in the ballpark of what you can expect. Most of our scenarios, the cost for a 2-1 buy down was around 1/4 to 3/8. But for this type of stuff, when we're just talking in general, I like easy math and I like being conservative in my estimates. So let's just say the cost for a 2-1 buy down was 1/2 a point. Well, let's pull back up our example here. The cost for the buy down would be 1/2 a point of the loan amount, so $450,000. Well, that only calculates out to $2,250. That's $2,250 you're going to pay in order to keep $10,260 in your pocket over the next 2 years. We're just over $8,000 in the green here. How big of a no-brainer is this? How effective of a financial tool is this for every home buyer who's in the market for a home right now? This is an insane opportunity. And then couple that with the fact that sellers are just more negotiable these days. Not only are they dropping their prices that they're listed for, but they're also offering seller credits towards closing costs much more commonly. So odds are any buyer who's making an offer on a property, unless it's one of those super high demand properties, which do still exist, odds are they're going to be able to get a credit from the seller to pay for this. So they're probably not even going to be paying for it out of their own pocket. But even if they are, you're looking at a value proposition that doesn't make sense to pass up. I personally think that we really shouldn't be doing any standard conventional purchase loans right now that don't include 2-1 buy downs. It's too powerful of a financial tool for the buyer. It's insane what they're looking at. And yeah, our example that we looked at was on a $450,000 loan, but I ran the numbers on all sorts of different loan amounts. On a $200,000 loan, a 2-1 buy down is going to save that buyer over $4,500 over the first 2 years of the loan. And because the loan amount's lower, the cost is lower because we're dealing in percentages here, not dollars. On an $800,000 loan, that buyer is going to keep over $18,000 in their pocket over the course of the first 2 years of the loan. And then the great thing about these things is that it's not some sort of funky program with all sorts of prepayment penalties or anything. No. When rates drop, because let's all remember, it's really easy to get really buried in the doom and gloom of the current situation, but rates are cyclical. Rates will come back down, and it's going to happen in the near future. I don't see us having to wait years for a dip in rates here. If and when rates do start dropping, you, the mortgage professional, you are going to be able to reach back out to these buyers. You're going to be able to reach back out to these now homeowners when they have the opportunity to refinance into the lower rate that they're already paying because of the buy down. But this is going to be an opportunity to refinance and secure that lower interest rate for the long term. It's all about helping buyers and serving them as homeowners. This is a financial tool. This is benefit to the pocketbook, to the wallet, immediately starting day one of their journey into homeownership. I really do think that 2-1 buy downs are being sold short. People are talking about them, but this is much more than a niche sales tool. This is more than a something that can rewind time, a time machine for interest rates, or whatever the marketing verbiage says on whatever flyer that you're trying to go out and pass out to realtors. The 2-1 Buydown is a real thing. The cost is really low when compared to the benefit, and the benefit is tens of thousands of dollars depending on the loan amount. So I hope this helped educate you a little bit more on 2-1 Buydowns. That actual example, diving into the numbers, was pretty sobering for me and made this a real serious thing real quick. This is not just the next thing to sell. This is something to advise about. Serious financial tools for serious home buyers. Hope this helped you out, and we'll talk to you next time on the Mike Faraci Show.